Hey guys, Panzer Dusk Attack here, and this is going to be something of a very different type of video. I've been pondering about doing this for a long time. Don't worry, this is still very much a gaming channel, and in fact, you know what, I'm gonna put some gameplay in the background just to prove that. Alright, so let's get straight into it. This is going to be a video about being a content creator. Now, I'm not an expert. Hell, I'm not even close to it. What I will say is that I'm just a guy who notices patterns, if you can call it that. So I've been running this channel for about 6 months or so. In that time, I've uploaded around 50 videos, with varying degrees of frequency. I've also grown to have over 100 subscribers in that time. But here's the thing about content creation. It's all about the interest and entertainment. If you're not entertaining, it should still at least be interesting. And what you want to do is, ideally, have every viewer click your video, watch your video all the way through, interact with your video, either commenting, liking, or favoriting, as well as sharing, and finally, subscribing to your channel. YouTube actually has a help section that explains how to get the best out of your content, and I advise everybody to go and check all that out. But here's some of the things that YouTube might not teach you. First off, you don't need expensive software or hardware. My first video was made using a trial version of some capture software, which I don't even remember what it was. Now, you can try searching for a bunch of programs, such as Bandicam, FRAPS, DxTory, or if you've got an Nvidia graphics card from 600 series or later, you could even use the software that's bundled with the GeForce Experience package, and that'll do screen capture as well. I believe that's called Nvidia Shadowplay, but check with the Nvidia website exactly how you're going to use that, because there are guides included with that if I remember correctly. Now, my first videos were also edited using Windows Movie Maker. Now, this is a free software that's available using Windows Essentials. Of course, if you're on a Mac, I'm not sure if this will be available to you, but I believe it's available for download free from the Windows or Microsoft website. Just do a Google for Windows Essentials Movie Maker, and you should be able to find it pointing you to the right place. Now, it's not the best, but it is very easy to use, and it has all the essential functions. So it's a great place to start when you are learning to edit videos. Now, there's a bunch of things to learn with editing, chief among which things like sequencing, how to make sure that things are in the right order, volume control, and that sort of thing, how to add music and sound effects as well. All of these will be the basics for any sort of video editing, and it's good to learn these early on in the simplest way possible. You don't want to go jumping into Premiere Pro, Sony Vegas, Camtasia, or anything like that without ever learning the basics of editing. For all you know, you could have a really expensive or a really complicated software which is just going to confuse the actual process, so learn before doing. As a general rule though, you always want to type the name of any software into Google search before downloading and installing it. For example, if your friend refers a software title to you, not that they're being malicious or anything, but sometimes maybe they didn't even know that the software could be buggy or even dangerous to use. So when you search for these by just typing the name of the software into Google, usually you'll find reviews about the software telling you whether it's safe to use or even anything about it, like whether it's easy to use. And on top of that, you might even find guides and tutorials on how to use the software. For example, try typing Adobe Premiere Pro into Google and you might find some tutorials and forums that have answers to a bunch of questions, if that's the program you're going to be using. Next thing you want to do is make sure you have some form of online presence. What does this mean? Well, simply make use of the many social networks that are out there. I highly recommend Twitter, since this is the fastest way to grow on any social network, and it's the simplest to set up and use. Facebook is also quite useful for getting friends and family to notice your work, if that's what you want. And I'd recommend creating a Facebook page and not using your personal profile for interacting and sharing your videos or streams. Seriously, don't share your Facebook profile if you can avoid it. You know, that's a lot of personal info. If you're a person that regularly snaps photos with your phone, then Instagram might be your way of doing things. And that's actually really great too for getting a following. There's also loads more for like Tumblr, for example, which will also help get you noticed. Basically, the more places you can be found, the more you're going to be able to direct people to your YouTube channel. If all of this isn't your thing, then simply being active in the community might just be good enough. For example, if you go and look for channels that are very similar to what you are creating, you can go and watch their videos and try to learn from them. If at all possible, give constructive feedback. And you can get noticed that way. After all, people do happen to notice comments on videos. Not just the creators themselves, but also other commenters. But one thing, don't ever, and I mean ever, spam your channel link to anyone. People hate spam. Simple as that. In fact, you're more likely to get blocked if you spam. So, it's kind of detrimental to what you're trying to do. But one more thing that you never do, and really never ever do, is spam it on someone else's video. If you want to advertise your channel, go through your own social networks. Don't make use of someone else's videos. Because, contrary to what you might think, for example, go to a PewDiePie video and spam your channel link there and ask people to subscribe to you. Chances are people aren't going to do that. In fact, you're more likely to get dislikes on that comment or even be marked as spam. And on top of that, it's disrespectful to the person who created that video. Yes, you're disrespecting the people that you are commenting and sharing your channel link to. Why? Well, put it this way. It's just like going to somebody else's house, standing outside their house, and then putting a big sign up in front of it telling people not to visit that person's house, but visit your house instead. Not only is it disrespectful, it also makes no sense. After all, if I'm somebody going to visit that person's house, I'm looking for their house, not yours. Therefore, if I'm gonna go to your channel, I'm looking for you, not someone else. Another thing, remember how I mentioned the social networks? Yeah, don't spam there either. Share links to your videos, tweet, share pics. People will eventually come to you, so long as you're active. What a lot of people don't realize is, the more activity there is on their respective outlets, be it Twitter, YouTube, or so on, the more that social network will passively promote you. Have you ever wondered how they pick those suggested channels? Well, there are many factors that control this. They definitely don't promote an inactive channel or profile. Put simply, if there's no activity, there's no reason for you to be promoted. Therefore, you won't get promoted. However, if you're really active, and let's say, for example on Twitter, you tweet using various hashtags, or just tweet 10 times a day, you'll notice people start to follow you. And that's because Twitter itself is actually searching your tweets and looking for keywords, so if you're talking about a particular subject, it might suggest people to follow you. Sure, it's a long shot, but eventually it does happen. It's unlikely that unless your Twitter account is private, like permanently, that people aren't going to follow you at all. So, good activity is always going to help you grow. That's the bottom line of that. And the activity should be consistent. Even if, let's say, you're uploading to YouTube and you can't do that every single day, that's perfectly fine. In fact, having too much content all at once is usually a bad thing because people can't watch all of it at once. But start off maybe with something like one video a week. If you have more time, maybe one video every 2 days or 3 days. It's really up to you. But consistent activity helps to build a viewer base because people who subscribe to you will be expecting videos to come out at a regular time. So if you tell everybody, I have new videos coming every Monday, they will look out for it every Monday, and so on. Last thing I want to talk about is all these follow backs, follow trains, and sub for subs. Now, here's why I don't do these. Because they are without a doubt the worst way of getting noticed. Seriously. Let's take a look at sub for subs. Now, the people involved in these sort of sub for sub activities, whether they're groups or whether they're individuals asking for it, are more often than not people who are looking for someone to follow them. They're not interested in you or your content, they want you to follow them. You are a number, not a person. Therefore, if I want to sub to somebody, it'll be because I'm interested in their content. Either they're new and I see potential, or they have videos that I like watching, or so on. But if their videos or their content isn't something I'm interested in, for example, I'm a gamer, and you are making videos about chemical engineering, that's something that's not really within my interest range, or even for that matter, my knowledge range. So I'm probably not going to subscribe to that. However, if you're making gaming videos and I like your videos, I'll probably subscribe, and that should be the same way everyone else should think. Because after all, then you become a content creator and not just a number. It's not uncommon to see channels that have 1,000 subscribers or more averaging the same sort of video views as a channel with 100 subscribers. And the reason being is because they have inactive subscribers, people who are just hitting that subscribe button but not watching the videos. This is very common. I'm not saying that these channels that won't be named are participating in sub for subs. It's just that people are subscribing and not watching. It's simple as that. There are plenty of reasons for that. Maybe they subscribed because they thought they were supporting the person, or maybe they subscribed because they thought they would watch but ended up they didn't and just never unsubscribed. Or it could even be because, I don't know, they think the person in the video is attractive and they'll subscribe because of that. But in the end, they don't end up watching the videos. And this is the problem. Because after all, YouTube works on viewer retention. So if people aren't watching the videos or watching all the way through, it doesn't help you in any way. So the simple thing is, you want to have active viewers. You want to have consistent viewership. You don't want to have, a whole bunch of subscribers that aren't interested in your content. And the same could be said about follow trains and follow back requests. Like, I won't do follow for follow back on Twitter because I need to be interested in what you're tweeting. If you ask for a follow back, I'll probably go and check your previous tweets, and if it's not something that interests me, I just won't follow. No hard feelings, I mean, it's just that, just not within the interest range. You can't expect everybody to be interested in what you say, just the same way that I can't expect you to have watched all the way through. If you are still watching, thank you very much. But it's just that, some people just lose interest, and it's very, very normal. And before I go, the last couple of things I want to talk about involve those sites. Now, there are plenty of these sites. You've probably seen them before. Sites on the internet that offer pay for subscriber, or pay for advertising, or pay for followers. Now, you can pretty much ignore all these, because more often than not, they're either going to be very expensive for very little gain, or straight up scams. Now, I happen to know that some of these pay for follower things are actually real. It's because the people either have a good pool of followers that will actually just follow, or they know how to make use of social networks. It is an actual profession. However, such things aren't going to be worth it because, like I said earlier, you're going to end up with empty subs. You're going to end up with people who subscribe and don't watch your content. Worse still, they could just be bot accounts that YouTube will delete over the next few months. So you'll end up with a temporary spike in viewers or subscribers, which will ultimately disappear and be of no benefit to you. Presto, your money disappears. So, is it worth it? No. And if you get scammed, it definitely wasn't worth it. Next thing, you can also ignore any site that allows you to, for example, log in with an account and have your channel featured for people to follow or to subscribe. That is not a good idea for many reasons. Number one, it doesn't usually work because, like I said, it's the same as those follow back trains and all that. The people aren't interested in your content. They're just there to get numbers. They're hoping you'll subscribe to them and not the other way around. Yeah, That's how it really works. And on top of those things, a lot of these websites are known to be sub for sub type of websites, and these actually happen to be, in some cases, against the terms of service of YouTube. Go and read the terms of service. You'll probably find that those sort of sub for sub train websites are actually grounds for you to be banned from YouTube. Now, I'm not saying that you will be, but it's possible. So why take the risk? I mean, if you want to build up a successful channel, why would you go and get yourself banned? Just doesn't make sense. And that's really it. Ultimately, if being a YouTuber is something that you want to do, sad to say it, there's no easy way out. There's no get famous quick method. You're not gonna become a PewDiePie copy channel over the next 2 days because you paid for it. No, it doesn't work that way. And no, viral videos don't count. Viral videos usually exist on channels with very few subs. For that matter, actually, a video that goes viral might have a few million views in a single day. But that is not something that you can hope to recreate. Sorry, it just doesn't work. So, it's really all about the hard work. The answer is really just that simple. You just gotta learn whatever you can, and always strive to improve yourself and your content, and be active. Interaction is always a two-way street. Talk to people and try to get involved in communities. That's the only way to grow. All the spam, gimmicks, and schemes will only go so far as to bring you down. They might be a temporary spike if anything, but the only surefire way to succeed is hard work and practice. That's all from me. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like if you found any of this useful or informative. Leave any feedback or queries you have in the comments below, or you can find me on Twitter, where I'm at PanzerSG. And don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel and you like the rest of my content. This video doesn't represent the rest of my content on this channel and could very much be considered a one-off video. So please do yourself a favor and check out my other videos before subscribing. As always, my name is Panzer, and I'll see you next time.